Um, my Drash today is entitled The Act of Thanking God for the Good in Our Lives. The Torah reading this Shabbat is Tavo. It means when you come into the land. These chapters of Deuteronomy are well thought out chapters. They are giving instruction to the children of Israel about the program that the Lord has for them in relationship to dwelling in the land of Canaan as an everlasting possession. This text is important because it gives us a glimpse of what was going on in the temple behind the doors. The Israelite worshiper comes to Jerusalem. In his hands are the first fruits of his labor, the best of his fields and orchards. He hands the basket of the first fruits to the priest. The worshiper approaches the priest with great humility. He is the recipient of God's goodness and mercy. He confesses both his own and his father's total dependence on God. King David did the same in his last prayer. Therefore David blessed the Lord before all the assembly and said, "Blessed are you, Lord God of Israel, our Father, forever and ever. Yours, O Lord, is the greatness, the power, and the glory, the victory and the majesty. For all that is in heaven and in the earth is yours. Yours is the kingdom, O Lord, and you are exalted as head over all. Both riches and honor come from you, and you reign over all. In your hand is power and might. In your hand it is to make great and to give strength to all. Now, therefore, our God, we thank you and praise your glorious name. But who am I and who are my people that we should be able to offer so willingly as this? For all things come from you, and of your own we have given you." The worshiper then brings to the Lord the first fruits, the best fruits, and not the leftover fruit of the field and from the fruit trees. After giving God the best of the best, the worshiper is invited to thank God for the good things that God has given him. This phrase is worded in a special way. The worshiper is not invited to thank God for everything that has happened in his life during the past year, but only the good things that happened in his life. The not so good things that happen in our lives have many sources and causes. The good things that happen to us and to our households are all from God and his goodness. There may be a question that I'm sure you want to ask me, and that is, what are those other sources in our lives that cause us some hardships and grief? How about our own self-inflicted mistakes? Ouch, that hurts, doesn't it? This is probably one of the main sources of grief and sometimes suffering in our lives. For instance, if we drive too fast around a curve and the physics of the centrifugal forces throw us off the road and we have a bad accident, it's not the devil, it's not a demon, it's our own choice to speed and lack of foresight and wisdom that has caused the accident. Sin in our lives can have painful consequences that can cause pain and grief and even illness. The very nature of all flesh is to age and decay. God at times wants to educate us and equip us for a higher challenge. And like a boot camp, he takes us through a series of obstacles, courses in order to build our abilities and train our minds and prepare us, sometimes through suffering, for a greater task and success in life. This one is one of the most difficult for us to understand. And at times we think that our whole world is collapsing and we can't take one more day. But the sun comes up the next day, and we understand that despite the great hardships and difficulties, in the end, like the Apostle Paul said in Romans chapter 8, all things work together for the good of those who love the Lord. Paul is basing this statement on several passages in the Psalms and the prophets. The main passage is from Psalms 145, 14 through 20. Good read. Go back and read it this week. The key phrase in this psalm is verse 17. The Lord is righteous in all his ways. In other words, if you separate one of God's actions in the Bible or in the history or in your own life, You might think that he is unrighteous, but if you look at the big picture, you will always see that he is righteous and all his ways are righteous. Shabbat Shalom.